Hey guys, this is Joel Castro coming at you with yet another vlog. Whoop-de-doo, surprise. Just kidding. In my last vlog I talked about some of the games at E3, and since E3 just happened, I want to give a quick synopsis. My overall take on E3, kinda disappointing. I mean, yeah, there was the announcement about the Wii U, but that was made the year before, and nothing really special happened. I mean, Microsoft, don't even get me started on their horrendous conference. Sony I thought was pretty good. The Wonder Book thing took a little long. They took a little too long explaining it, but in my opinion it's kind of an interesting concept. Nintendo, meh. They're cloning a bunch of Mario games for the Wii and the Wii U. They're coming out with Pikmin 3, which is pretty cool. But all their announcements are just, last year's games to be played on the Wii U. Which, to me, is like, so? We've already played the game. A new gameplay mechanic is not really going to change the experience that we had. Or so I think. I don't know. But Nintendo's conference was just meh to me. Sony's conference, they had The Last of Us, they had that Beyond, which is going to be from the same guys who made Heavy Rain, one of my favorite games. Some more Assassin's Creed 3 footage, which I'm just going to say this right now. Assassin's Creed 3, Game of the Year. You heard it here first. Game of the Year. Now, without further ado, here's my review. Last time I reviewed Uncharted, Drake's Fortune, and I thought it was a good game. A little flawed, but it's the first game in the series, so you're going to expect a few flaws. How could they improve? Make a sequel. Uncharted 2 is considered by many to be one of the greatest video games ever created. And I actually believe them. It's an amazing game. For a sequel, it won over 50 Game of the Years. I have the Game of the Year edition right here. I don't know if you can read that very well, but I got some multiplayer maps, some co-op game mode, which was multiplayer content, and the reviews say it's a masterpiece, best looking game on any system, one of the best games of all time, and I'm here to review it. The story goes like this. Set, I think, 2 years after the events of Drake's Fortune, Drake embarks on yet another treasure quest. This time to find the fabled city of Shambhala, which is actually Shangri-La, the Buddhist holy city that was never found. And Drake enlists the help of several. This is a bigger quest than he can handle. And he gets help from some of his friends. I keep forgetting the one dude's name, but there's some new characters introduced. You still have the old characters like Elena Fisher, who helped him in the first game throughout the majority of it. Oh, sorry. Victor Sullivan, Sully, who's like his father, who's like Drake's father figure, basically. And also you have new characters. Like the guy, I cannot remember his name for the life of me. He has a British accent, so if you play the game, you know who it is. And this chick called Chloe Fraser, and if you look up a picture of her, she is hot. I'm not gonna lie, guys, she is hot. But yeah, basically, enlisting the help of these people, he goes on a quest to find Shangri-La, Shambhala, as they call it. And let's talk about gameplay for a second. It's the same gameplay that they had in Uncharted Drake's Fortune, but a lot more solid. Drake can climb a lot easier, even though he still looks very awkward doing it. It's realistic, Gun mechanics work a hell of a lot better. Tossing grenades is not a chore like it used to be. You can actually aim better. You have this looping arc that tells you where the grenade's going to land. And the enemies have wisened up a bit. Even the gunfights are not as frustrating as they were in the first game. They are a lot easier to win, even though they still can be frustrating. it's more of a realistic type of frustrating, though. You know, they're constantly shooting whenever you poke your head out. That's realistic. You know, if they see a head, they're gonna shoot at it. Climbing, quick time events are still there, even though they're few and far between. And they're done pretty well, in my opinion. Not to the extent of God of War or Heavy Rain, but they're implemented very well. Kind of like in Resident Evil, except you kind of expect them. And Nathan is still the smart ass, you know. He's always making snarky comments, a lot of dirty jokes in between. You have no idea. Even though it's a T-rated game, there's a lot of dirty jokes in it. But yeah, and the story progresses very well. It's a lot longer than the first game. It'll run you about 14 to 16 hours to play, which is pretty much twice as long. And it is one epic story. The way it progresses, the cinematic values got a whole lot better. The sequences... There's always a signature sequence in the Uncharted series. In Uncharted 1, there was the whole jet skiing across this ruin. And in this game, it's this hotel sequence in not Yemen. What was it? In Tibet. Or was it Nepal? It's somewhere in that area. But it's this hotel sequence, and it is action movie worthy. Like I keep saying, this would make an amazing action movie. Like Die Hard worthy. It is that good. And yeah, the story just progresses so well. The villain is pretty intimidating. This Russian called Lazarovich. And he's this really war-beaten guy who's seeking Shambhala for his own gain. The secret of Shambhala, they reveal to you in-game. I'm not going to reveal it because spoilers. I'm spoiler for you. And yeah, the graphics in this game, they're upped from the last game, but it still runs in, I think, 720p. Yeah, 720p. You definitely can't read that. It's in 720p, so it's, again, not the highest graphic standard, like in God of War or games like those where you have these amazing graphics. You know, it was made in, I believe, 2009. So again, 1080p was not the big thing back then, but now it is, and the game still looks very good. It looks like a game should. It's beautiful. The environments look very realistic. Temples are awesome. Snow, they animated snow very well, in my opinion. You still get to collect a lot of treasures as well throughout the game. There aren't 60 anymore. There are actually 100 of them, and you have to do some fancy climbing in order to get to some of them. And yeah, the sound again is great. The sound editing is great. The music is still soaringly epic. It's good for an action game. I have nothing but good things to say about this game. And to top it all off, they actually added multiplayer into this game. Now, this is the first time they implemented multiplayer in the series, so it's gonna have a few issues. You know, whenever a game starts a multiplayer mode, it's gonna have a few issues in the beginning. In this one, I didn't find too many, except custom loadouts aren't exactly that great. You have to, again, with any multiplayer, you have to rank up in order to get some of the better guns. The actual gameplay itself can get a bit laggy, depending on how many people are playing and what server everyone's using. I've seen people lag, and it gets annoying, but it can be overlooked. You have a decent amount of maps. Some great, some decent. You get to unlock different characters in multiplayer. It's basically your standard multiplayer. It works very well. And in Game of the Year, you get a co-op game mode, which is actually like an offline thing where you can go with a friend, either with you, next to you, with 2 controllers, or online, and you get to go through a series of separate adventures. like an arena mode, an adventure mode, a survival mode, that kind of thing. Ugh, sorry, I keep burping without meaning to. They also have this animated comic which you can download, and it's all on this one card. I think I tossed it already, but yeah, I tossed it already. But you know, the multiplayer works very well for an intro multiplayer. It's pretty damn good. I'm not gonna lie. Issues with the game, there are a few issues. There are still some glitches here and there, as with any game. No game is perfect. No game is glitch free, and there are a few, fewer than in the first game, but they still happen. And again, the gunfights not as frustrating as the first game, but they still can be pretty damn difficult. There are no texture pop-ins, thank God, because that gets off-putting in the first game a little bit, not that much. There's no texture pop-in in the single-player campaign, but in the multiplayer, since you know it has the lag issues, you're gonna see a few texture pop-ins. And the sound is pretty damn good. I never found any sound glitches. The campaign is a decent size, especially for an action-adventure game. As linear as it is. Again, this game is very linear. This series is a linear series. I mean, I know people have been wanting, you know, branching storylines ever since, you know, RPGs came running about. Like, again, enough! You know, like Skyrim with the branching storylines. Or stuff like that. You know, not every game has to have that element, and I love the Uncharted series for it because it allows you to appreciate the time and effort that they took to design places that get you from point A to point B, and not point A1 to point A12 and then to B. You know, I like linear stories. The design works very well. Every level is pretty well designed. Every chapter. The writing, again, this is good writing. And those are good things I have to say about this game. One of the best games ever? Yeah. They improved on every single aspect that the first game, good as it was, fell short on. You know, they improved on every little bit of it, and oops. I'll get that later. But, you know, they improved. And that's always a good thing to look at in a sequel. And for that, it gets a 9.5 out of 10. Again, it's still pretty frustrating to get through the gunfights. The platforming got a little simpler. The multiplayer, laggy, but very good. It's not perfect, but it's very, very good. And yeah, it's well deserving of a 9.5 in my eyes. So that's all the time I have for you today, guys. This has been Joel Castro, and next week I top off the trilogy by reviewing Uncharted 3, Drake's Deception. And holy shit, is that game fucking awesome. This has been Joel Castro, signing off. See you guys.